exclusive deal this March on Fox Nation. Sign up now at foxnation.com to get your first month of Fox Nation for just 99 cents.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John McCarthy, and I'm just so happy to welcome you to our coverage of this event on the TGC. As we begin, our next golfer on the tee is definitely thinking about making a move for that top spot.
President Trump's
See how this story unfolds.
For the 2020 nomination has dropped out of the race. Fox's Jared Halpern has more.
Former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld is ending his underdog campaign for the Republican presidential nomination. Weld was the first Republican to announce a primary challenge to President Trump, getting in the race early last year, appealing to moderates. But he never earned more than single digits in any primary, including 9% of the votes in New Hampshire, winning just a single pledged delegate. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Well, Bernie Sanders at least has more than one pledged delegate. However, he's trying to determine his next move in the Democratic presidential race. The Vermont Socialist Senator's campaign manager says Sanders is going to be having conversations with supporters to assess his campaign. It comes after Joe Biden's latest wins last night, seizing a commanding lead. Well, some Democrats are now calling on Sanders to drop out in the name of party unity. But Sanders' advisors suggest he won't rush into any decision, betting the political landscape could be different as the coronavirus continues to reshape life.
Let's toss up and see where this one will land.
Well, here's one way life is being reshaped. There's a side effect of COVID-19 and rushed to buy guns. Fox's William Lajeunesse explains.
This is nationwide. Shotguns, rifles, handguns. People are buying whatever is left in the store, and dealers say they can't even find ammunition. That's gone. They're like literal zombies. They don't care. They just want something. They don't care what it is, make, model, doesn't matter. Just give me something. That's all they want. Lines snake around stores. Buyers fear looting and robbery, and when seconds matter, they fear police will be minutes away. Some fear emergency orders, already drafted in several cities, will allow officials to suspend the sale of firearms.
Gun control groups fear panic buying will lead to more shooting incidents.
Media Minute with Howard Kurtz.
President Trump taking a much more aggressive stance against the coronavirus, and yesterday talking about sending checks to Americans to ease the financial impact. This after a lot of press criticism. They had been too slow and had been underplaying the severity of the crisis. But what about the news business? Brand new poll from Morning Consult and the Hollywood Reporter was kind of a vote of no confidence. 50% of those questions say the media are hyping the coronavirus. Also, in terms of having a lot of trust in who provides the information, 17% have a lot of trust in this poll. The information provided by network news, 14% for newspapers, 13% for cable news networks. That's behind the relatively low scores of President Trump at 20%, Vice President Pence at 18%. Who's trusted most of all in this particular survey? The Centers for Disease Control, 15%. That's why you see medical experts front and center at these White House briefings. With your media, Howie Kurtz, Fox News.
A country star delivering free groceries to seniors. Kristen Goodwin details next in Fox Trending.
Here's Johnny. The Johnny Carson channel is back on SiriusXM. Did you miss me that much, or are you buttering me up for Christmas? The Johnny Carson channel on now. SiriusXM channel 105. Are you ready to get rid of oppressive credit card interest rates forever? Thousands of Americans with more than $5,000 in credit card debt have turned to Colonial Debt Relief to get it done. Ridiculous interest rates and minimum payments are some of the tricks credit card companies use to convince you there is no way out of your debt trap. The truth is, they don't want you to know there are solutions available to immediately reduce or eliminate that debt today. Now there is a debt relief program for hardworking people just like you to help lower your debt to a mere fraction owed. Colonial Debt Relief has helped thousands of satisfied Americans.
Volunteers to deliver a week's worth of groceries to the elderly amid the coronavirus pandemic.
If you know somebody that should be on this list, please email us at info@thestore.org to make sure that we get them the food that they need right now. They don't need to be out.
The singer and his wife teaming up with Belmont University to open The Store, a market which provides food for those in need. Others are welcome during regular hours, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. They'll need an ID and either proof of income, proof of residence, or statement of unemployment.
Let's get through this.
Google sharing the latest search data amid the spread of the coronavirus.
Yeah,
Reps say
this sounds looking
interest in
promising.
sick leave is peaking at its highest search interest ever worldwide. Google also revealing the question, are taxes being delayed in 2020, spiked 5,000% over the last week? The answer is no. However,
Yeah, about
some tax
110
payments can
yards
be
to the
deferred
pin from here.
in certain circumstances. Some heroes wear diapers. A Twitter video showing a toddler comforting his dog during a thunderstorm is warming hearts online. It shows the child petting the golden retriever, giving hugs, and offering a pep talk. It's unclear where this is, but tens of thousands are reacting. The caption calling it the best thing you'll see all day. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
And I'm Tom Regani, Fox News Headlines 24/7 with the news you need the moment you want it. Sirius XM 115. The coronavirus pandemic comes at a time when many are
Well, I
looking
don't
forward
think
to
this is
spring
going to
break.
be a happy ending,
And
folks.
many of Florida's famous
And
beaches
that will not be on the
attended.
green.
Fox's Evan Brown.
Just not enough
Some
club on
Florida
that one.
communities are restricting beach access. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
Different localities are going to make decisions about what makes sense, but having talked to mayors, it's certainly not uniform throughout the state.
But Clearwater Beach was absolutely packed with many non-locals.
I know the whole world is kind of shut down, and kind of makes me a little bit nervous.
Colin Arndt from Cedar Falls, Iowa. Paula Banks brought her kids down from Canada.
We're just trying to keep our little area, I don't know, like 10 feet away from everybody else.
In Miami, Evan Brown, Fox News.
Wow, nicely done. That is putting par very much with the H on this hole.
Gordon died in
12
his sleep
feet to
at a
go.
rehab center in Houston following treatment for an infection. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine saying in a statement, Al was an American hero whose achievements in space and on Earth will never be forgotten. SpaceX launches 60 more of its internet satellites into orbit despite an engine failure shortly after liftoff on a recycled rocket flying a record 5 times. SpaceX chief exec Elon Musk says one of the 9 main engines shut down prematurely during liftoff, a rare occurrence. However, the satellite still made it to the proper orbit, increasing the Starlink constellation to about 360. Some of the planets, along with the moon, will be providing some early morning entertainment. Experts say Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn will be clustered with our moon in the southeastern sky just before daybreak tomorrow. Mercury will peak above the horizon. So get your telescopes out. But don't forget to point the telescope away from the sun.
Very close. Just
All
didn't
this is
drop.
happening amid the earliest March equinox in 124 years. President Trump says he is using the full power of the
And
federal
one
government to
over
offer
today
aid
after
to any workers affected by the coronavirus. White House Economic Advisor
And now,
Larry Kudlow
the
explains
third
who will help. Fox's Bill Hemmer reports.
We are particularly concerned, and we are aiming our assistance plans not only at individual men and women, but also at small businesses, which are essential to large business supply chains. So we have a very forceful plan, probably $250 billion or $300 billion, which could be leveraged even higher to help out small business people, self-employed people, and again, the individual hourly workers who have to stay home for a bit. The auto factories are closing now for 2 weeks. It's a direct function of the coronavirus.
Close call. This could be in the
I
rough.
spoke to 2 of the 3 of the big 3 car makers today, and they want to get going as soon as they can. And actually, one of them told me that even while the men and women may be off for 2 weeks due to the virus, she's going to try to call them back so they can produce ventilators. And they might even ask them to do it on a voluntary basis for civic and patriotic reasons.
Catch Bill Hemmer reports weekdays at 3 Eastern on Fox News Channel. Sirius XM 114. Entertainment's coming up.
Celebrities step up their donations amid the coronavirus pandemic. I'm Michelle Polino. I have that story and more next in entertainment.
Democracy 2020 coverage continues on the Fox News Podcast Network. Dana Polino and Chris Steyerwolf with I'll Tell You What, a campaign with Brett Baer. Go beyond the headlines with the Fox News Rundown. All available at foxnewspodcasts.com.
Do you know what brand sells the most work shoes in America?
Nothing wrong with that.
Skechers. Why? for starters, Skechers has the best-looking safety-toe and slip-resistant shoes around.
This
They've got superior quality and simply incredible prices. Did you know that 80% of infectious diseases are spread by contact? And if we are what we touch, that puts us all at risk of spreading germs. Worse, the flu. Now you can protect yourself from germs before you come in contact with them. Introducing Touch, the world's first proactive preventative hand sanitizing germ block. Simply spray Touch on like sunscreen and it will stay on like sunscreen, providing a persistent barrier of germ protection. So free yourself from a germ-infested world. Order today from touchgermblock.com or find us on Amazon and receive free shipping on all Touch 4-packs. Again, touchgermblock.com or amazon.com.
This is that place where truck drivers are treated with respect and work-life balance exists. A place where you could average $87,500 or the equivalent of 89 cents per mile in your first year. A place where home time guarantees you'll be with the ones you love every single week. A place where benefits reflect your hard work, where you know that you'll never have to load or unload freight. A place where truck drivers are among the first to respond in times of need, delivering water and emergency supplies to the people who need it most. You want to work for that place, make a difference for that place, and most importantly, you want to drive for that place. That place is Walmart, and we offer a variety of benefits starting day one, including well-maintained equipment, a quarterly safety bonus, and pay when taking a DOT break on the road. And we're hiring truck drivers all across the country. To apply online, visit driveforwalmart.com. That's drive4walmart.com. Walmart's an equal opportunity employer.
Did you know you can sell your life insurance policy
And that
and a term
will bring
policy
him down.
for cash payment? Call Coventry Direct at 1-800-481.
All right, here's the fourth hole.
Or visit CoventryDirect.com to learn more. We thought we had planned carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
Our friends sold their policy to help pay their medical bills. And that got me thinking, maybe selling our policy could help with our retirement.
So I did some research and called Coventry Direct.
We learned we could sell all of our policy or keep part of it with no future payments. Who knew? We sold our policy. Now we can relax and enjoy our retirement as we had planned. If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Call Coventry
It looks
Direct.
like a 6-iron. And the forecast calling for sand here, folks.
CoventryDirect.com. That's CoventryDirect.com.
The right hole about on that one. Just not enough club on that one.
Defining insurance.
Now let's see what happens here from the sand trap.
If you suffer from endless cycles of sinus infections or seasonal allergies, or if you're often congested, or if you snore, or if, like most of us, you're a little worried about what you're breathing in these days, here's an important message. I'm Martin Koch, the inventor of Navage, the world's only nasal irrigator powered suction, and I used to have horrible sinus problems. I've created Navage as an easy-to-use alternative to the neti pot and a drug-free alternative to pills, sprays, and prescriptions.
And that performance will bring him down. Okay, let's see what the fifth has in store today.
In a recent independent survey of over 2,000 customers, 91% said they feel healthier thanks to Navage. Here's my promise to you. Try Navage. If it doesn't relieve congestion and help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier, just return it for a full, no questions asked refund. Online at Navage.com or in stores at Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Bed Bath & Beyond. That's Navage, Navage.
It seems the days of neighbor helping neighbor are long gone. Maybe not. People like Kelly are reversing that trend, joining the Nextdoor app and connecting with neighbors.
We set up carpooling for getting our kids. We have our community garage sale. We communicate, and it makes our community so much safer. I just absolutely love Nextdoor because, to me, it brings back the good old days.
Meet the helpful neighbors you never knew you had. Download the app. If it's happening in your neighborhood, it's happening on Nextdoor.
It's True Justice all month long on Fox Nation. Exclusive shows about the shocking crimes, famous cases, and the people who fight for true justice. Go to foxnation.com and stream these exclusive shows right now.
Vice President Joe Biden sweeping all 3 states in last night's primary, leading to a false report today that Senator Bernie Sanders was suspending his presidential campaign. The campaign quickly fired back, saying Senator Sanders is going to be having conversations with supporters to assess his campaign. In the immediate term, however, he is focused on the governor's response
could be rough, could be
to the coronavirus outbreak. Joining me now, Biden campaign senior advisor Simone Sanders. Simone, thanks for being here. Good to see you tonight. Happy to be here, Martha. I guess that's the first question. Obviously, Joe Biden had a very good night last night, won 3 states. Ohio is yet to come. And then this buzz this morning that Senator Sanders was dropping out, which turned out to not be the case. What do you make of him staying in at this point?
Well, look, first, Vice President Biden has the utmost respect for Senator Sanders and the movement that he built, for especially the young people in his coalition, the folks that have pressed for big, bold ideas in this race all along. And you heard Vice President Biden say in his remarks, no one should be pressuring, in our opinion, Senator Sanders to get out of this race.
That was my
a
question.
personal decision to make.
So you're fine with
he's
him
probably
staying
gonna like
for as long as he wants to stay in.
Well, look, Martha, this is a decision that, as folks know, Vice President Biden has had to make himself on a number of occasions. And so he understands how personal this is, and that is a decision that Senator Sanders and his family and his campaign will have to make, and we'll respect that. In the meantime, we look forward to the additional nominating contest, and Vice President Biden and our campaign will continue to push to bring the country together and talk about our bold vision for America.
So, I mean, obviously, you never imagined that you'd be running a campaign in the middle of coronavirus. I mean, all the things that you probably game out and think about, right? So how does it change things? I know, there was a virtual town hall that's now being rescheduled. Is there, there was some technical difficulties with the last time around. Is there a problem getting those up and running?
No, not at all. Look, we actually had a teletown hall on Monday, I do believe, actually. Yes, it was on Monday. I moderated the town hall with Vice President Biden, and we had folks on the line from Illinois, Arizona, and Florida. So this is definitely changing the nature of what we're doing, right? We're not in the office. Everyone is teleworking, virtual town halls. We'll be doing virtual fundraisers for the foreseeable future. Vice President Biden will be doing a lot of videos and a lot of statements. Right? But frankly, this is something we all have to do, Martha. We all have to adapt in this moment to take care of one another so we can come out on the other side.
All right, so with regard to that, earlier we showed Governor Cuomo of New York praising the president and thanking him for, bringing the hospital ships to New York and for being aggressive in the way he's handling this. Given that spirit and, everyone's talking about coming together, would it be a good idea for Vice President Biden to be supportive of the president in this moment and to say so?
Well, look, this is not about politics, Martha. Vice President Biden is supportive of whatever gets the job done for the American people. But the reality is we can't gloss over what's happening in this moment. Testing is still a real issue. We were happy to see the Trump administration and the president come out to the podium today and enact a number of sweeping changes.
From
But the
130
reality
yards out.
is we have to ensure that we are doing what's best for the American people. That means testing. That means being as innovative and creative as we can. But that also means being transparent.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When I listen to what the candidates are saying, get the best scientists, get testing up and running, it sounds a lot like what's happening. So I just feel, I can't help but wonder if it wouldn't even be good as a candidate to say, this is a moment to get behind our president. I obviously disagree with him on a lot of things, but let's point out, let's give credit where credit is due at times. I don't know, something along those lines, rather than, sort of going after, failures here or there. Is that constructive for the American people at this moment?
Well, Martha, I think what's constructive for the American people is results. As Vice President Biden, he has been through a number of different crises. Nothing on, frankly, the scale of what America is dealing with today, because preventative measures were in fact taken. So again, if the Trump administration is getting the number of tests out that they said are going to get out, then that is amazing. But the reality is we have not seen the tests that the Trump administration promised in the field, and we have not seen those results yet. Now, results could be coming. I think, and we have said, and Vice President Biden has said, a leader has to lead from the front. And so what President Trump came out and some of what he announced today was, it's a tough job, but it has to be done. And some of what he said today was good. But the reality is he also stood at the podium and called the coronavirus COVID-19 what I would suggest is a racial slur. It's something that is offensive
Why
to
is
many
that? Why would it
Chinese
be?
Americans.
To call it a Chinese virus when it originated in China, why is that a problem?
It's something that is offensive it is something that is offensive to many Americans. And so the reality is, instead of name calling, instead of pointing fingers, instead of talking about phone numbers,
let's be serious. Let's be serious for a second here. You know, the MERS virus is MERS. Do you know? Wait a minute. Do you know why it's called MERS? Why is it called MERS? That virus?
You tell me, Martha. You brought
because it's called the Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, because that's where it originated. So this idea, you know, this sort of rabbit hole of getting into this whole issue of racism, I just think is so counterproductive to what we're trying to do here. And I just talked to this amazing scholar on China moments ago who said absolutely China at the leadership level has tried to obfuscate and be everything but transparent since the very beginning. They lied and lied and lied about this situation.
And
This is
why
not
is it not report after that?
This is not about if China has been forthright and forthcoming. The reality is,
yes, it is. That's exactly what it's about.
Denied the reality, not in terms of what the President of the United States is referring to this virus from the podium. The reality is, yes, the Chinese government refused to let American scientists in to research to see what was going on. That is a stark difference than what happened in the Ebola crisis, when the United States government demanded to come into African countries. And so that is something we should have and have to continue to push for.
Yeah.
But my only point is, and I think the point of folks across the country who have raised an alarm or a question about this or a concern is that they have noted that it is offensive to them. And in times of strife, particularly when we're dealing with a pandemic that is currently affecting people that have had no contact with anyone overseas.
No one is suggesting that American Chinese people are responsible. Every thinking human being who looks at this
and about 100 yards to the pin.
That the reference is to the origin of the virus and also the leadership in terms of how that virus was handled in the country.
Suffer from a sensitive mouth, you probably felt the burning pain and irritation caused by using regular mouthwashes. But there's good news, and here's Dr. Thomas Joyce, DDS, to tell you why Closest Ultra Sensitive Oral Rinse is the gentlest yet most effective oral care.
I recommend Closest Ultra Sensitive to my patients because Closest effectively kills harmful bacteria without causing pain or discomfort, and it soothes the sensitive mouth.
Get unflavored Closest Ultra Sensitive Oral Rinse now at CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, and more.
Are you ready to get rid of oppressive credit card interest rates forever? Thousands of Americans with more than $5,000 in credit card debt have turned to Colonial Debt Relief to get it done. Ridiculous interest rates and minimum payments are some of the tricks credit card companies use to convince you there is no way out of your debt trap. The truth is, they don't want you to know there are solutions available to immediately reduce or eliminate that debt today. Now there is a debt relief program for hardworking people just like you to help lower your debt to a mere fraction owed. Colonial Debt Relief has helped thousands of satisfied Americans move forward fresh and debt-free. Don't let the credit card companies force you into bankruptcy. Call the experts at Colonial Debt Relief at 1-800-468-8366 and fight back. Colonial Debt Relief will help lower your debt immediately and improve your credit score in just a few short weeks. Call the experts at Colonial Debt Relief today at 1-800-468-8366. That's 1-800-468-8366.
Do you have a pickup truck? Wave Express is looking for Americans like you to haul RVs across this beautiful country. Experience the freedom of the open road as you deliver RVs with Wave Express. Set your own schedule. Be your own boss. Drive whenever and wherever you want with Wave Express. Find the details and online application at waveexpress.com/America. That's waveexpress.com/America. Travel the USA for pay.
If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. Meet Evan Goldberg, founder of NetSuite. I had to learn that the hard way with my first company. That's why I started NetSuite. I needed to see everything that was going on with my business in one place, so we built the world's first cloud business system. And after 20 years, over 16,000 companies run their businesses on NetSuite. Everything you need to keep growing is in one place. Financials, HR, commerce, customer info, and more. NetSuite gives you the visibility and control you need to make smart decisions and grow with confidence. That's why companies who use NetSuite grow 3 times faster than the S&P 500.
Find out the rest of Evan's story and get your free guide titled 7 Key Strategies to Grow Your Profits at netsuite.com/Fox News. That's netsuite.com/Fox News for your free guide. 7 Key Strategies to Grow Your Profits. Go right now to netsuite.com/Fox News.
Hey, homeowners, make 2020 the year you say no to high-interest debt and those personal loan offers. At an average interest rate of 15%, they are not a good option to consolidate your debt. Your home gives you options, and Figure unlocks them for you. With Figure's home equity line, you can use the cash in your home to get a lower interest rate. Figure offers the fastest home equity line on the planet. The application is completely online, and you can get approval in 5 minutes and funding in 5 days, with APR starting at 4.99% for consumers with excellent credit. Let your home get you the best rate today. Go to figure.com/XM to find out if you could qualify for a better rate. Checking your rate won't affect your credit. That's FIGURE.com/XM. Rate includes auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Figure Lending LLC. Equal Opportunity Lender. NMLS 1717824.
All right, there are now 214,000 cases of coronavirus worldwide, and a recent study suggests undetected and the now tested cases are fueling a rapid rise in the numbers. We knew this was going to happen in terms of the numbers once the testing became more widespread. So we've got a study out of Science Journal that found that in China, as many as 6 out of 7 cases went unreported. And that, quote, these undocumented infections often experience mild, limited, or no symptoms and hence go unrecognized, and depending on their contagiousness and numbers, can expose a far greater portion of the population to the virus than would otherwise occur. Joining me now is Dr. Anthony Boutin, Interim CEO and President of Nassau University Medical Center. Dr. Boutin, thank you very much for being here tonight. So I think, I've spoken to so many people who I think feel the same way, this notion that, there are so many people walking around with the virus undetected, that those numbers are probably much higher than we're being told. What do you think?
I think you're correct. So what we do at the hospital, as an emergency physician,
I think you'll be happy with that.
And so we have to assume that every patient that we see
from 140 yards out
has possibly COVID-19, and so we have to take precautions. So what we do is we protect ourselves. If a patient comes in with a fever and a cough, we mask them. And then, depending on if we suspect that they're high risk, or if we suspect that they test positive somewhere before or they're not positive, what we do is we put on the full PPE, hairnet, N95 mask.
Looks like this is bound for some rough.
And then we go through and we try to limit the amount of
it's just poor luck on that approach. Not enough club on that one.
So in terms of what people should, so what do you suggest if someone has very low level symptoms? They're all being told, don't use up a test. You don't need to use up a test. But the truth is that a lot of those people probably have it and may be spreading it to other people. So I guess that's the reason why we're all supposed to stay contained, right?
Stay contained, wash your hands, and try not to cough in the vicinity of somebody else. Stay at least 6 feet apart from most other people.
So, it's interesting. I was looking at the South Korea model and their chart. Now, they did not do all of the shutdowns of restaurants and public places, but they managed to get their numbers peaking and moving down.
And after that, they'll stay right where they are in
which is pretty remarkable.
Okay,
and so everyone's looking at this model and asking the question, is it just surging the testing to the highest numbers possible that really ends up, getting ahead of this thing? What do you think?
You know what? I'm not 100% sure. But what we're doing, at least in New York and everywhere else, we're protecting our employees. We're protecting the healthcare workers. We're at least trying to at least have several hotspots. A clean area and a COVID area, so that we try not to mix at the time.
And he's probably not happy with that.
To limit, the exposure to our employees more than anything else.
Before I let you go, what were your numbers like? Do you have a lot more people coming in today now that there are more people getting tested? Have you seen any change over today or yesterday?
Our numbers, at least in the city and here in Nassau County, our numbers have doubled over the last several days. We're testing more people, but the tests that we've been doing over the last several days, we've gotten more positives over the last several days. And we've gotten a tremendous amount of patients that are symptomatic and are positive and sick.
Can you handle the numbers you have?
At least in Nassau County, the answer is yes. I'm afraid that what's going to happen a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a lot of my colleagues in the city are running out of ventilators. We're very prepared here in Nassau County. We're trying to protect our employees first and foremost. We're limiting visitors. We're closing a lot of the entrances. We're swabbing as many people as we can. And we're taking temperatures in the entrances to police protect everybody that's our patients.
Sorry, coming in and out a little bit, Doctor, but it's a scary situation. And we thank you for everything that you are doing on the front lines, and we appreciate you being here tonight to tell us a little bit more about it. Thank you very much, Doctor.
And after that, we'll stay in 5th place in the standings.
Stay well. So our very own Kristen Fisher and her father, William, with the story behind this picture next.
1 century ago, the world experienced its deadliest pandemic. In the decades since, other influenzas have swept the world, but none have been quite like this.
The coronavirus now is a global pandemic.
This is like no other. Go inside the lives of people living in quarantine and learn how you can stay safe from the virus. Fox Nation gives you 3 new specials diving into the world of pandemics. Don't miss 5 photos of pandemics and epidemics.
You gotta be pleased with that.
Available now only on Fox Nation.
Black and green stuff growing on your roof or siding? Pick up Wet and Forget's Extreme Reach Hose End. It attaches to your garden hose and sprays up to 30 feet. Wet and Forget Hose End quickly and easily treats outdoor surfaces you normally couldn't reach without climbing up the ladder. Each bottle cleans up to a whopping 2,000 square feet. Wet and Forget. Outdoor cleaning made easy. Get Wet and Forget Extreme Reach Hose End at Lowe's, Ace, or Walmart.
Did you know you can sell your life insurance policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment? Call Coventry Direct at 1-800-481-6300 or visit coventrydirect.com to learn more.
We thought we had planned carefully for our retirement,
but we quickly realized we needed a way
not
to
a good approach out there.
Our friends sold
It's
their
too
policy
much
to
club.
pay their medical bills. And that got me thinking, maybe selling our policy could help with our retirement.
So I did some research and called Coventry Direct.
We learned we could sell all of our policy or keep part of it with no future payments. Who knew? We sold our policy. Now we can relax and enjoy our retirement as we had planned.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Call Coventry Direct at 1-800-481-6300 or visit coventrydirect.com. That's coventrydirect.com. 1-800-481-6300. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
Gold is on a run again. Experts say the coronavirus can tank global economies, so investors are heading for safe havens to avoid losing value in their IRAs, 401ks, and stocks. Don't stand on the sidelines and watch your accounts dwindle day by day. Head for safety and catch the gold rally now. Protect and grow your financial future today with a call to American Bullion, the leader in gold investments. You have valid concerns, and we have simple solutions for all needs and budgets. In fact, we specialize in first-time gold buyers just like you. Find out about American Bullion's hassle-free process to transfer any portion of your IRA, 401k, or stocks into the long-term safety of a gold IRA today. Call 800-600-4849 and ask about our free gold guide. Call 800-600-4849. Grow your financial future with the rising value of physical gold and protect yourself during this worldwide crisis. Call the leader, American Bullion.
Individual results may vary. There's no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Invest wisely. What do you get
Yeah,
when you
he's
take
probably not
two
too
of
happy
nature's
about
most
that.
heart-friendly superfoods, grapeseed extract and beets, and combine them into one delicious, convenient soft chew that's bursting with flavor? Introducing Super Beets Soft Chews. Super Beets Chews combine the functional power of premium heart-healthy beets and exclusive grapeseed extract, sourced for its unique heart benefits. Just 2 Super Beets Chews a day includes clinically researched grapeseed extract, shown to support heart health. And you'll love their pomegranate berry flavor. It's so good it tastes like candy. You won't find blood pressure support that works and tastes this good anywhere else. Right now, you can get a free 30-day supply with your first purchase by going to getsuperbeets.com/foxnews. This offer is exclusive to radio listeners only. You can't get a deal like this anywhere else. That's getsuperbeets.com/foxnews for a free 30-day supply with your first purchase. Getsuperbeets.com/foxnews.
Now let's see what the plan is here from the bucket.
If I told you to follow your heart, where would you go? For many, the answer is Cleveland, Ohio. It is, after all, the heart of the nation and home to Cleveland Clinic. The hospital ranked #1 in heart care in the nation 25 years in a row. We've seen heart patients from all 50 states and 129 countries. Learn why people from around the globe choose Cleveland Clinic for heart care at
Just like that, car is very much back on the table on this whole. And to save the power.
So as coronavirus spreads around the country, we all worry about our loved ones and the people on the front lines. Sometimes they are the same person. This post is from Fox News correspondent Kristen Fisher. This is my dad. He's a 73-year-old emergency room physician in Texas who loves his job and will never retire. He texted me this picture tonight after I'd asked him how he was doing, and I burst into tears the second that I saw it. My reaction came out of nowhere. I'd been watching Narcos and laughing seconds earlier. I called him to say I was worried about him, but could barely speak as I fought to keep my voice steady. I think we all have a moment where the gravity of what's happening finally hits us. This was mine. Kristen Fisher joins me now, along with her dad, Dr. William Fisher. They're an amazing family. Both of Kristen's parents are astronauts, space shuttle astronauts and physicians, which is just extraordinary. So, Kristen, what was it? You've seen your dad in this line of work and in, perilous situations and adventurous his whole life. What was it about that picture that was so touching to you that it made you cry? I had been talking to him on the phone almost daily about the virus, but there was something about seeing him in the mask and the gloves that it just really hit me, and I got really scared for my dad. So, Dr. Fisher, what's your reaction to your daughter? And also talk to us a little bit about how you feel about being in this situation.
When I read what she said, I teared up too. I was so surprised. It was such a wonderful thing to read. And she's right to be concerned. All healthcare workers are at increased risk. But we do the best we can. And every patient that I see with similar symptoms is a potential COVID-19 patient. So we have to treat everybody as though they're infected. And that's what we're doing.
And Dad, go ahead, Kristen. I know he is the youngest 73-year-old in the world. He has the immune system of somebody who has been working in an emergency room for 40-plus years. But, when you hear the stats about how this virus affects people who are older, it really hit me. Well, you don't look 73 at all, Dr. Fisher. And your daughter's absolutely right. And I'm sure everybody is so, just feels so much better when you are talking to them about what's going on and taking care of them.
Very nicely done out of the sand. It's going to make it
How is this one different?
This one's about a 7-footer.
It's unusual. It's like walking into a dark forest with a patient behind every tree, and they've all got similar symptoms. Some have the flu, some have a cold, and some have COVID-19, and there is no way to tell. So we have to treat them all as though they're infected, and it's a little different to have that situation, but that's what we do.
Yeah, and talk to me a little bit. We've talked tonight about the frustration with not being able to test everyone, so you can just sort of weed everyone out and figure out what you're dealing with. How is the testing for you?
Right now, we have places to send people for the testing. We don't do the actual swabbing at our facility. But I'll tell you, the way we have transitioned from a peacetime to a wartime setting in the last 2 weeks has been remarkable. It took 4 to 6 months to get this far after Pearl Harbor. I think that an excellent job is being done. It's just the magnitude of the problem is so great. It takes time.
Yeah, and Kristen, you're covering it from the D.C. perspective. And obviously, there's a big effort underway to flood money. And I just spoke to the VA secretary, and they're working with Veterans Affairs to try to get supplies moved out. Does it feel like the wheels are much more greased than usual in that town that some people refer to as a swamp?
It definitely feels like there is a renewed sense of momentum behind this effort now. But, just looking at my father, these past 24, 48 hours, it's really made me think, if I'm feeling this about my dad, how many other people who have family members who are nurses, doctors, other people who work in hospitals, how many of them are dealing with similar thoughts and fears?
Yeah, and Dr. Fisher, speak to that, because you do build immunity.
He's probably
this
not
is a different
happy about that
virus. So have you seen colleagues who are, becoming infected, and how, are people more vulnerable who work in the line of on the front lines than normal?
And we're all vulnerable, and technically speaking, the older you are, the more vulnerable you are. All you can do is do the best you can. I mean, I'm rigorous about hand washing, cleanliness. Our patients are sent into an isolation room before we see them. We all wear the N95 masks. I'm doing the best I can, and I'm hoping that it doesn't get me.
Yeah, well, we hope so too, Dr. Fisher, and we thank you for all that you're doing. It is so selfless of all of you and all of the healthcare workers. So thank you. Kristen, thank you. Great to see you both tonight.
Thank you, Martha.
Stay well.
Thank you.
So that's the story for this Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. The story continues, and I will see you again tomorrow.
And this is going to be nice and easy compared to that last time.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. The coronavirus is now in every American state. It's killed more than 100 people here so far. That number, of course, will rise. In Italy, the virus killed almost 500 people today. Nobody is invulnerable to it. Just an hour ago, Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart of Florida became the first federal lawmaker confirmed to have the virus. We'll be covering every aspect of this pandemic this hour. The economic effect of it, the effect on society, the role of China in all of this, which is significant. We'll also have an interview with a person who's recovering from the virus right now. What does it feel like?
Questionable as to where it's going to end up.
But before that, as we have every night, we want to open with a big picture look at the current state of coronavirus. And who better than Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Dr. Fauci joins us tonight. Doctor, thanks so much for coming on. So the federal government, the administration, has spent an enormous amount of money responding, and looks like they're pouring all their energy and all their efforts into protecting the country from this as of now. Is it working, do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm certain it's having an impact. It's not able to be measured precisely because you have two things going on at the same time. You have an escalation of the infections, and you have all of the things that we've been talking about and doing over the past few days that is aimed at blunting that. When you have these two dynamic things going on at the same time, you can't quantitatively say how much it's having an effect. But for absolutely certain, it's having an effect. When you do the kind of mitigation approaches that are being done right now, and all the other effort that's been going in right now, certainly it's having an effect. However, you're going to see tomorrow, as you just mentioned now, there will be more cases, and they will continue to go up. That doesn't mean what we're doing is not having an important effect.
Where are we, can you estimate the development of this?
When you say the development, you mean the evolution of the outbreak, Tucker? Is that what you mean?
That's exactly right. In the evolution of the outbreak of coronavirus in the U.S.
Yeah, it's still in the escalation phase. There's no doubt about it.
I think he's going to like that.
You take a look, it's uneven. There are certain parts of the country that got hit early and had community spread, like in Washington State. New York right now is having a particularly difficult problem. That's the way you're going to see it
over the next few weeks. You're going to see not a homogeneous evolution of it. It's going to be this way throughout the country.
What do you think the real number is? Is it knowable or guessable? Is it worth guessing of infected patients?
You know, it's not worth guessing, Tucker. Certainly, as you know, when you have an evolution of an outbreak, and historically this is true for every outbreak, particularly ones of diseases that we've never had experience with before, there are certainly more people out there, probably many more people, who are infected, who have not yet come to our attention. That's one of the reasons why the major expansion of high throughput testing is going to give us a better idea of that. But I think it's folly to try to put a number on it when you have something that's in motion and dynamically moving.
That sounds right. I want to ask you a specific question that arose today. So the World Health Organization is suggesting that people not use ibuprofen, so that would be brand name Advil, and French researchers are saying the same, suggesting it might exacerbate the disease, its progression to the lungs. Is that a good guidance, do you think? Do you think that's true?
Well, you know, there is no real scientific data, Tucker, that tells you that that is a fact or evidence-based. I think what they're referring to is they want to be the better part of really being cautious, because there is a syndrome that's associated with the use of aspirin in children with influenza that gives them a neurological syndrome called Reye's syndrome. And I believe what they're thinking, since there's a relationship obviously between
staying right there in fifth place after that hole,
but there's no real
and setting up on the 16th tee.
Would you take it?
When I take it, I mean, when I get a fever or an ache, I take Tylenol, but I've been doing that all my life.
That's good enough for me. Dr. Fauci, great to see you back. Thank you for that. So the economic effect of all of this is being felt across the country. The Dow Jones has fallen almost to where it was at the start of this current administration. Meanwhile, unemployment numbers suggest the economy could shed an awful lot of jobs, maybe millions in the next month. Chief Breaking News correspondent Tracy Gallagher joins us with a rundown of the state of the economy. Hey, Tracy.
Hey, Tucker, we're now seeing the impact of all those shut down businesses across the country because we're getting the first unemployment numbers. In the past 5 days, Connecticut has seen 30,000 unemployment claims. The typical number is 3,000. So far this week, Ohio has 45,000 claims. Last week, there were 6,500. And Michigan's unemployment claims are up 550%. The story is much the same in every state. In fact, New York's unemployment website crashed with traffic levels that compare to the days after 9/11. And the numbers, of course, will rise because automakers, including Detroit's Big Three, Ford, GM, and Fiat Chrysler, have now agreed to temporarily shut their manufacturing facilities. So we're not making cars, and we're not placing bets, at least not in Vegas, where all casinos are shutting down. In fact, the Cosmopolitan will close in
from
48
125
minutes.
yards out.
The theme here is that paychecks are scarce, workers are scared, and you need only spend 10 minutes on social media to see exactly how concerned your fellow Americans are. Tucker.
They are. Trace Gallagher, thank you for that. Well, the coronavirus is exposing this country's dangerous, close to suicidal level of dependence on China for essential goods we need to live. That has to change, of course. Right now, the White House is thinking through an executive order that would expand Buy American requirements. Peter Navarro was White House trade advisor.
Pitching wedge. And this one's heading towards the green.
So coming on. So how close are you all to issuing this order on Buy American?
It's going through the final phases of it. It's basically a three-pronged approach, Tucker, consistent with what President Trump did back as candidate Trump, which is to say, buy American, make it here, deregulate so it's easy to make it here, and innovate so that it's low price to make it here and we can compete. Those are the three main portions of it. The big picture here, Tucker, is we buy about $120 billion worth of pharmaceuticals from the rest of the world. Of the 20 largest ones, which account for over 90%, fully 10 of them have already imposed export restrictions on things like protective personal equipment, and 3 more during the last crisis with swine flu imposed restrictions. So well over half. I mean, that means basically we're alone when push comes to shove. So that's one of the reasons why we have to do this.
May I stop you there? I want to make absolutely sure that our audience understands what we're saying. So the companies in China, American companies in China that are making medical equipment we need, like masks, and the Chinese government is saying, no, you American company cannot export that to America.
So Tucker, this is not about China. China's a big player in this, but there's 20 different countries around the world that are involved in supplying us with our pharmaceuticals. 13 of them have already imposed restrictions, including China, and 3 of them, in the last one, did impose restrictions. So 13 out of those 20 imposed restrictions on us. That's why we have to be self-sufficient at a certain level. Now, the philosophy of the executive order, Tucker, is to make sure that our government procurement is by American. We've got $49 billion worth of medicines that we buy primarily at the VA, the DOD, and HHS. And right now, we're not enforcing Buy American. Get this, Tucker. Over 60 countries, because of our free trade agreements, are treated as if they were American. It's crazy. So one of the things I have to say, though, this order, if signed, will not interfere with any way with anything we can get to treat the current crisis. It has a blanket waiver. We'll get anything we need from any source, from anywhere, at the price we otherwise would have got it. But what it does, Tucker, is it sets in motion a long-term plan to bring that back, and in the short term, it also helps us bring advanced manufacturing to domestic soil. I've got projects that are ready to flip switches in 30 to 45 days if we can simply get the deregulation moving and the incentives for the innovation. That's where we're headed. Tucker, the other things I'm doing, I'm trying to make sure we have enough masks, sanitizers, and things like that. We're working 24/7 across the street on that.
I can tell you are. I got to say this now. I remember when you were hired in this administration at the beginning, you've been talking about this stuff for decades, and people mocked you. All your Buy America talk, make it in America talk. That's stupid. Peter Navarro's crazy, and it turned out you were completely right. Completely right. So God bless you for that. Peter Navarro, thank you.
I appreciate it. God bless you for what you do, Tucker.
Many parts of the economy have already been hit hard by coronavirus, but maybe none harder than the retail sector. With restaurants, hotels, bars, casinos, cruise ships all shutting down, many thousands have lost their jobs. The huge spike in unemployment claims around the country this week is one measure of what's happening. Most of these workers have no meaningful savings. For them, this is a tragedy, and in the current news maelstrom, it hasn't received nearly the attention it deserves. But what if the country understood that the plight of a waiter in San Antonio could materially affect people's retirement plans across the country? And in fact, it could. To a much greater extent than many of us realize, the American economy is interconnected, virtually every part of it. Think it through. A restaurant in Cleveland closes. Many have closed. In fact, every bar and restaurant in that state shut down on Sunday night. With no revenue coming in, it isn't long before the restaurant's owners can't pay their rent, so they don't pay it. This is a crisis for their landlord. He's got a mortgage. After a while, he stops paying it. The problem is that mortgage likely has been sold to somebody else. Who exactly? Well, with commercial mortgages, that's not always clear. It could be insurance companies, foreign investors, investment funds, among many others. The point is, that mortgage is no longer held by the bank down the street. It's now bundled with a lot of other mortgages like it. It's now a financial instrument. Investors have bought it with the expectation of regular income from payments that are no longer coming in. Those investors, pension and retirement funds, control much of America's savings. Now they're in trouble. So the people who rely on them, families of retired auto workers in Oakland County, Michigan, firemen in Sacramento, retirees in Sun City and Cape Coral in the villages, a lot of the country. Meanwhile, the waiters from the shuttered restaurant in Cleveland are still hurting. One of the first payments they'll likely stop making is on their credit cards. Now, no one's weeping for the credit card companies. They're still charging an average of 19% interest at a time when the Fed is shoveling cash at the banks pretty much for free. But it's more complicated than that. MasterCard will not suffer alone. As with mortgages, a lot of credit card debt has been sold to investors. Once again, America's collapsed, and some did collapse. Many homeowners discovered they owed more on their properties than the properties were worth, so they defaulted. And that began a chain reaction that led to the worst economic period since the 1930s in this country. When it came time to untangle that mess, auditors couldn't figure out who owned a lot of the empty properties. The mortgages on them had been bundled and sold sometimes many times. They'd been financialized. Despite many promised reforms, that really hasn't stopped happening. Our economy is still heavily dependent on regular interest payments from the middle class. In other words, when you don't pay your credit card bill, it has ramifications that you may not have known existed. Now, this arrangement has made a small group of people fantastically rich, but has left many others dangerously exposed. We can soon learn why it matters to everyone when they close the bars in Miami. Ray Washburn is a businessman in Dallas. He operates shopping centers as well as 65 bars and restaurants. He's both a landlord and a tenant, so he's experiencing this moment from both sides. From 2017 to last year, he ran the Overseas Private Investment Corporation for the Trump administration, who joins us now. Ray, thanks so much for coming on tonight. So you've been in the restaurant business essentially since college, probably close to 40 years. You've seen a lot of ups and downs. Have you ever seen anything like this? How is this different?
Well, Tucker, thank you for having me on tonight, because the restaurant business is much like a family. All our employees over the years have worked for us for a long, long time. We've embraced them through ups and downs, and now we come to something like this. Yesterday, tens of thousands of restaurant employees all over the country were let go, and it was like having to let family go. But there's no alternative. As the cash crunch being shut down, that there is no income to pay these people.
So what are the ramifications of that, apart from the tragedy of having to lay off people who work for you and in some cases you love? What does it mean for the rest of the country when that happens?
Well, our biggest concern, and I'm both a landlord with other restaurants as tenants and also our own restaurants, is April 1st, 2 weeks from today, is a day of reckoning, in my opinion, because you're going to have rents that are due, you're going to have mortgages that are due, you're going to have bondholders that are due, as well as vendors that are owed money for the last 2 or 3 weeks. 2 weeks ago, everyone was having a booming year in the restaurant business, and now 2 weeks later, we're totally shut down. And so, in the next 2 weeks, the Trump administration, which so far has been incredibly positively responsive to all the trade associations that have gone to them, whether it's the shopping center trade or the National Restaurant Association, they've been very responsive to our needs that we need. But really, the biggest need